Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. BTM here, bringing you a 1v1 on Deccan. I'm playing German, facing a British. We're continuing our week of playing as a German civilization. Now, as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of Deccan, and as you guys also know, I said I was going to try to bring you a lot more 2v2s and team matches, but today we're bringing a 1v1 match for a very special reason. We're going to be trying a unique strategy that I have never seen or heard of done with German before. I was actually learning to play German this week for the video. And that strategy is the fast fortress with Germany into the Third Age and then sending mercenaries. So it's a very, very cool, very, very exciting strategy. It's very, very unique. And Deccan actually is a perfect map to play it on. That's why this match actually happened on Deccan. I realized that the only way to actually execute this strategy properly would be on Deccan itself. That is because on Deccan you start out with an extra 300 coin in crates, which means I only have to send my 700 gold from the home city to age to the fortress age, and I start out with 300 wood in crates, which allows me to build my initial house and a trade post immediately as the game starts, both putting me in a fantastic position to fast fortress. So it's excellent for me to be able to play this way. As you can see, I'm already building my first trade post. I'm eyeing that +5 population treasure there, and I'm super excited to get this match underway. I wasn't actually nervous at all about executing. I was actually a little bit lethargic, just like, I'll do whatever happens. But in hindsight, I played pretty well, and it was a lot of fun. I did a little bit of fancy micromanagement at some points. So without any further ado, let me just kind of overview the strategy we're going to be doing here, just because Germany's fast fortress, at least the one I was using here, is a little bit different than the average civilizations. You're going to age to the second age with 12 villagers, and that will include sending the 2 settler wagon card. That'll be a total of 18 villager population, and it's actually generally easier with Germans to keep track of the population rather than the villager numbers. Since you do have 2 types of villagers, it's kind of a little bit easier to just say, okay, I have 18 villager population, I'm aging to the second age. Now in this particular match, because I am on Deccan, I am starting with extra resources, and I am kind of a step ahead of the game, I guess. I am actually going to age with 17 villager population. I probably could have narrowed that down to 16 or 15 villager population, but I didn't want to go too crazy. I decided, okay, 5-10 seconds, whatever, is a good choice. Potential economic harm is not a good choice. So that's what was going on there. Now, normally when you make your second, or when you send your 2 settler wagon card, you put those settler wagons immediately onto wood because you're trying to get wood for your trading post. However, because of the map we're on, I had no need to go do that, so I was just able to put them directly onto food and really just power my way into the colonial age quickly. Now, my card choice in the colonial age was going to be the 400 wood. Normally you age to the colonial age with 500 food, and that's because your resources are split between getting enough coin, the 300 coin to age, and getting 250 or 200 coin for the trading post, depending on the map. So all around it was a little bit iffy, or a little bit different for me this game. Normally you should age with the food, but because we already had the coin, that meant I didn't have to take my villagers off food when aging. I also had my trading post built, so I could leave all my villagers straight on food while aging to the colonial age. So there was really no worry whatsoever for me about having to shift my villagers around or do anything funky or strange. I could just leave them directly on food. I could gather up treasures. I could kind of queue up my villagers herding actions. That way things were streamlined when I hit the colonial age, and that's what's going on. Now, as soon as I hit the second age, my first card is going to be 700 wood. Some people, not 700 wood, 700 coin. Some people recommend also, if you can, sending the advanced trading post card and just spamming trading posts all over the map. That actually would have been a very viable strategy on this map. There is indeed 5 or 6 trading posts, probably 5 on this version of Deccan. 5 trading posts, easily grabbable, and it would immediately put me at a lot ahead, even if I only got 2 or 3 shipments from each before he started destroying them. But I decided to go with the traditional strategy and not do anything weird, even though here, as you can see, being so far ahead economically, I could have possibly sent it, but I didn't want to slow my fortress time at all, and that is the one draw side to sending the advanced trading post card. Now, as you can see here, we've hit the colonial age at around the 4-minute 30-second mark, a lot faster than it's probably expected for this strategy, but again, we're playing on Deccan, and I have not actually really I wasn't actually in a big rush to gather the wood initially. I didn't have villagers that are waiting, but it didn't really matter because I just need those settler wagons there to be ready when the actual coin comes. They'll need to be ready then. So at that point in the game, I'll definitely need these settler wagons ready to go. Now, as you can see there, I am putting my food immediately into housing because I'm going to be sending mercenary cards. I'm going to be having a surplus, if not most, of my villagers on coin, so it's going to be very important that we keep up the housing with a minimal amount of people on coin. It's also important that we keep up villager production. We're only going to have 5 or so actual villagers on food, though. We're only going to have enough to keep up production. My hope is really to utilize my home city shipments and win that way. As you can see here, I have options of shipments to send. I'm ahead of the curve, so to speak, but I'm not going to send any now. I'm going to wait till I get to the 3rd age. Granted, I was playing a little bit risky here. I knew he was British, so I didn't feel in a huge amount of danger. Nobody British grenadiers rush unless you're me, because I like to just derp around with civilizations and try things. So I knew I likely wasn't in a huge amount of danger. I did take the other 200 wood, though, from that trading post, or from my aging up. I took the other 200 and I put it into that trading post. In game, I thought that was a really smart decision, and out of the game, I still think that was a really smart decision. I wasn't in any trouble. I did have a few people on food, or on wood, so I could afford to make more houses. So basically getting shipments faster was a good choice. Now, my first card in the Fortress Age, since we've hit the Fortress Age at around 6 minutes 15 seconds, which is very respectable. For Deccan, though, it might be slightly slow. I'm actually not quite sure if for Deccan it's a good time or not. I think it is, but I might not be correct on that. But my first card obviously is going to be the 8 skirmishers. If he has Hussar, I'll have to use my Ulaine and some micromanagement to kind of try to fight it off. If he doesn't have Hussar and he has Longbowmen or Musketeer, which is much more likely, then I'm actually going to be absolutely golden to decimate him with the skirmishers, and then of course I'll start sending my fancy mercenary units. But let's talk about some of the fancy mercenary units. By the way, from this point on in the match, the actual strategy is pretty much over. You are going to want to start hotkeying your units, though, and playing smart. And, yeah, playing smart. But other than that, you're probably fine. Now, I did send 1,000 wood, though, as my 4th card of the game, I believe. And that was a risky choice. I knew it when clicking it. I was thinking about it. I thought, you know what? I'm playing really risky here. I'm definitely kind of balling on the fact that he's not going to put that much pressure on me. And I actually see here several of his villagers there, and I'm about to go try to eat a few of them. Super excited, and I see some pikemen, so this is kind of cool. He's going to kind of run at my Ulaine with those pikemen, and I'm going to get my skirmishers and start picking a few off. Blue does, of course, have longbowmen, which are the bane of my existence. I hate any unit that has a longer range than my own units. It is absolutely so frustrating for me not to have the longest range unit in the game. Like, words cannot describe how frustrating I get by not having long units. However, there's one benefit, though, to the German Fast Fortress, and I guess let me initially cover this. Even if you end up not really spamming, mercenaries to their full potential, but you end up using a lot of skirmishers, they are already veteran skirmishers, which make them really powerful relative to other skirmishers and against musketeers of any type, even Ashigarus. They're going to have their hands full with these veteran skirmishers. So as you can see here, I'm going to keep hotkeying up my Ulaines together, making them a little bit bigger. And I'm circling my armies around. I have not sent any of my prized valuable mercenary shipments then, but he's been really passive. He's been kind of almost sitting back and booming. But we're going to change that here. We're going to send some Jägers. By the way, they are pronounced Jägers, I believe. They're a German-Dutch word, and they make the J's like yes, from what I've been told. Jerome on the forums, the AgeCom forums, actually said that in a comment. He told somebody, I bet you won't figure out how to pronounce my name. And the guy, and I believe Ivan was like, ha, it's easy. It's Jerome. So I learned from that. See, I learned. But that's what's going on there. That's why they're called Jägers, I guess. Now, something interesting here you may notice, I upgraded both trading routes rather than investing in another trade route. And the reason why I did that is I just want the resources from them now. I'm going to start attacking them, and when I start attacking them, I'm going to be getting the military, I'm going to be getting the experience I need. So now I want to get the gold I need. That way I can really start just massing a humongous amount of men. Now, my plan is to actually hotkey the Jägers with my skirmishers, even though they're different kind of animal, I guess. I believe Jaegers are technically heavy infantry. I think. Don't quote me on that. I actually do not know. I really should check what Jaegers are. I just know that they're absolutely phenomenal and kill anything they fight. So I'm going to mix the Jaegers in with my skirmishers, and then I'm going to keep circling around with my U-lane. Now, let me actually really take this moment as we're kind of looking at kind of me develop my attack and just kind of try to keep some pressure on blue. Let me just kind of go over some of the amazing German mercenary cards. They have the 13 Jaegers, which is phenomenal. Instead of getting U-lanes, they get extra Jaegers. They have the 9, I think they're called Black Riders, and they're absolutely phenomenal anti-cavalry. They're basically like dragoons on steroids. They get, I think, 7 or 8 Hackapel, and Hackapel are the most ridiculously overpowered hand cavalry, the hand horses. I'm going to call them horses in this video because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Wait, cavalry, something like that. Anyway, they're ridiculously overpowered. They have like over 120 hand attack each. So I mean, take that, French. You know, everybody thinks Jordames are bad. They got nothing on these bad boys. So Hackapels are an option. Not to mention you can send 10 or 15 or 12 Langschalets, which are basically like Swedish pikemen but German. So that's cool. Not to mention that you can send skirmishers and U-lanes. You have an 8 U-lane card if necessary, and a 9 U-lane card, I believe. 8 U-lane card and a 9 U-lane card. Now, as you can see there, I probably should have had my U-lanes running forward. I kind of got my hotkeys a little bit messed up. I'm still getting accustomed to using hotkeys. And as you can see here, I'm happily attacking those longbowmen when a bunch of pikemen come. So I'm gonna actually run my U-lane right around my massive Jaegers and skirmishers. I'm gonna have my Jaegers and skirmishers keep picking off those pikemen, and then I'm going to send my U-lane to go straight out, attack and kill some of the longbowmen. However, there's more pikemen coming, but that's not the end of the world, because now I'm going to hotkey my U-lanes and those Hackapels together, and this is where it's going to get really ugly. I think Hackapels actually one-hit kill longbowmen just because the longbowmen are frail. I'd like to think they have around 90 health pop, and I know that Hackapels do around 121 damage a hit. So as you can definitely see, that definitely puts blue in a world of trouble. He definitely has a lot more men here, and you're kind of looking at the battle, you're like, oh man, you know. But then you realize that I'm setting in some ridiculously overpowered units, and as you can see, controlling the trade routes is really giving us a huge advantage here, and I'm using my hotkey groups to kind of attack and micro out the units that I need to. I had a little trouble of getting them to attack because I often find I spend too much time moving my men around relative to having them attack concisely. I don't know if that's because I'm doing it wrong, but that's something I got to work on. I was actually doing some hotkey practice with a buddy of mine who's very, very good at this game. He's been kind of walking me through it, so I'm going to keep doing that and getting better. But you can see here a little bit of hotkey work. Not phenomenal yet, but we are taking steps in the right direction. I do want to be a premier player. I know that you guys come to watch Age of Empires, so at the very least you should be watching the highest quality Age of Empires possible. Now, here we've managed to kill off the pikemen he was sending, so we're in very, very good shape. I'm going to send my home city drop-off point for the Langschalets. Langschalets? I think they're Langschalets. I'm going to send them to his city. At this point, it's pretty much GG. We've managed to inflict some pretty amazing losses on him. Not much he can do about it. And we managed to keep our economy fairly stable. I did a pretty decent job for me, at least, making villagers the entire time. I am going to build a barracks on the middle of the map. I have such a surplus of resources that it's really kind of ridiculous for me not to start using regular units too. I definitely got the advantage that I needed from my mercenaries, and now I'm going to be able to just back it up with some doppels. I'll call them dops. I'll back it up with some dops and maybe some skirms if necessary, and that's going to be that as we wrap up the match. But all around, the whole premise of this match is just to really utilize Germany's amazing, and I mean absolutely amazing, mercenary options. Instead of U-lanes, like I said, if they're mercenaries, they generally just get more mercenaries, which is fantabulous. Now, one thing here that I will highlight really quickly, I did back out of his town there, and I made kind of a little bit of a gut feeling there. I didn't want to take fire from that town center when I knew that I wasn't really going to be destroying buildings with those small men, and I had Langschalets in the way. So I decided to back out. I'm going to let my Hackapels kind of safely and away from the town center fire, circle back around in, and then I'm going to use these units to go in and actually start sieging the buildings. I'd also like to point out here that we are going to leave his manor houses alone. Obviously, if you destroy Britain's manor houses, you're really just kind of playing into them. You're not really going to defeat them because they rebuild them to get more villagers. It actually ends up working for them better in the long run. So as you can see here, though, we're just going to pick off his units, and he's really in a world of trouble. He's going to try to run a little bit, but it's pretty much over. Now, it was kind of really a lot of fun, at least, to play this on Deccan. I think I don't know if I mentioned this, but I tried doing this on Painted Desert, and I started with 200 food. I started with 200 wood, and that was it. And I was playing another British, and I completely got second age owned. So I was really actually nervous walking this game, kind of like uh-oh. But this player wasn't nearly as aggressive as the other player was, and also it was a lot different this time around. So his town center's down. We're just gonna let our units, even though they're taking a little bit more fire, and probably don't need to fight the Minutemen, and we can let the Minutemen die on their own. I decided just, you know what, it's over. There's no real point at this point to be super conservative, you know. There really is absolutely no chance of him getting back into it, so I just kind of did whatever I felt I had to just, you know, clean it up, and we actually didn't end up losing that many men. Mercenaries are absolutely monstrously powerful, and we're going to, of course, follow up with some more skirmishers and other units, and we do actually have quite a surplus of resources, but that, of course, was from controlling the trading post. So all around, it was a good game. He's a sergeant like me, so I guess you could look at this two ways. Either he's a little bit underranked, or I'm a little bit overranked, or however, or I'm underranked and he's overranked, or however. But all around, it was a lot of fun. I did win in the most resources, and I won in the most units killed, and I was so thrilled to look at this. 57 units killed 127 or something like that. I've never had such a good kill death ratio. I was so ecstatic right now. I was like thrilled to actually have done well and done a pretty decent job micromanaging for the most part. So all around, it was really, really good. Notice that I had almost a very little amount of food and wood, and I had almost all my total resources was in coin, at least half of it. And that was definitely the advantage of grabbing those trading posts, and my military definitely did a good job. And I also looked just to see how my villager count did. As you can see, after the period of aging, I did a really, really good job of just maxing out villagers and keeping those villagers coming. Also notice overall the entire time I had more military units than him, not because I made more, just because I didn't let them die as much. You know, my losses were nowhere near as catastrophic as his. So all around, guys, that was my Germany mercenary fast fortress strategy. Not mine, I guess I should say, but it was me playing it. It was a fabulous game. I really enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed doing that with Germany. It was a lot of fun. And one-on-one on Deccan, it's definitely, I felt pretty viable, at least at my level of gameplay. I know that a strong rush could probably take it out, but at this level, I wasn't too worried about it from a British. Now, on to today's quote of the game before I leave, and it says, "Success in warfare is gained by carefully accommodating ourselves to the enemy's purpose." Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, good luck and happy hunting.